Hello and welcome to another Revel Coach conversation. I am Allison Nissen, co-founder of Revel Coach, along with my sister, Marcy Stout, who is here with us today. And we are so lucky because we have the founder of Sweet Cream Candle Company and Oh My Cupcakes, Melissa Johnson. Melissa, welcome to Tuesday at 2, which is when we always record our conversations. And I would like to say, we are so glad you're here. Tell us what's going on. What's new with you?
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me. And I have so enjoyed having a little bit of conversation ahead of time. And I'm excited to dive in with you ladies today. And again, just grateful to be here. Yes, my name is Melissa Johnson, and I am in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Now in South Dakota, you guys, we have 864,000 people in the state, literally more cows than people in the state of South Dakota. So if you're on vacation and you run into someone, in another state that's from South Dakota, I always make the joke like, wow, half of us are here. Look at that, So I am in Sioux Falls and owner, founder, CEO of Oh My Cupcakes, gourmet cupcakery. We've been in business now 14 years. Sweet Cream Candle Company, which is a side company I started about 3 or 4 years ago. And I'm a writer, speaker on my own, as well as with the Jon Gordon Companies, and Power of Positive Leadership certified speaker as well. And an author. I like to have my hands in a couple things here and there.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, let's start first with the cupcakes. Have you always been a baker and had this dream as a little girl to start a cupcake? Or tell us about how you had the courage to start a cupcake company.
Absolutely. Well, like most people who decide that they're going to start a cupcake company, I spent 12 years in radio. I'm sure you see the natural correlation, right?
Absolutely.
So, no, I was in radio here in Sioux Falls and started on the hard rock station. You guys, you ready? Metal Melissa on Real Rock 1037 The Crow.
Oh my gosh, you sound good. You got a great radio voice.
And then I was out of the rock world. I had young children at home and my lifestyle had changed. And so I went over we always kind of joke about it being the soccer mom station. And I was Melissa Riggs on Light 92.5 Callow FM. And so I was all around the radio dial. I was Frankie on Today's Hottest Music, Hot 104.7. Loved radio. I really did. I loved radio. I loved everything about it and everything I was blessed to be able to do through that platform. But one thing that I had really encountered was conversations with people and conversations with women, whether it was a listener that called in on the phone and was having a bad day, or someone that would email me at the station, some of the volunteer work I was doing within the community. And I really found that I had a heart for walking alongside of women who maybe had been in some difficult situations in their life, or just needed a little bit of extra guidance. And so I know this gets to be a little bit of a long, circuitous path here, but I promise we're getting there. I was offered a job in women's ministry at an organization here in our community. And I was ready. I was going to go into women's ministry and be able to really fulfill this passion. And wanted to, in an effort to finish well, to leave well, I gave 6 weeks notice in my radio career. And I was 5 weeks into that notice. I had trained my replacement. I was excited about, the going away party is planned and everything, right? And I got called into a meeting at the church I was going to, and they started it by saying, don't panic, which I think we all know. Is it safe to say that is not a good way to start a meeting, right?
Yes.
So they said, don't panic, but we've made some organizational changes here, changing around the structure, and the position that we offered you, as we offered it to you, no longer stands. We're not going to have a paid women's ministry position. But don't worry, we will find something for you to do. We have a job for you here, so don't panic. And they did, only it was doing data entry for new people who would come to church each week.
Yeah.
And so I had again given up this 12-year radio career, which I loved, for the promise of this job that was now not to be.
Which
but a couple things.
A blessing.
What's that? I was going to
It
say
ends
a
up being
couple
a
things
blessing.
happened. It does. It does. A couple things happened at the same time. First of all, the same day, believe it or not, that I got called into this fateful meeting, I had seen a speaker that morning, and my radio group had brought him in, and his name was Jon Gordon. And Jon Gordon is best-selling author of The Energy Bus and Power of Positive Leadership, The No Complaining Rule, and so many others. And his message was really just unlike anything I'd heard before. And so it was so well timed, so God timed, right? That I was able to hear this message in the morning, go into that meeting in the afternoon. And though I left panicked and upset and worried, I didn't stay there, right? Because of what I had heard that morning, I didn't stay there. So that was one thing that was going on. But another thing that was happening is that I had been doing radio show prep, looking for things to talk about on the air. And I had been coming across story after story about cupcake shops. And they were this new thing all across the country back in 2008, 2009. And there was not a cupcake shop in South Dakota. The closest to us was in Omaha, Nebraska, or up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I was just really intrigued by a place where you could come in with your family and really enjoy a sweet treat and a special moment. And so I began to do research. I began to visit as many cupcake shops as I possibly could find, and finally realized that I had enough data and enough background information that I could put a business plan together. And this was really going to be something, right? I mean, like I was testing recipes on friends and family, and now the backstory there is I went to the bank and I asked for a loan for about $40,000. I walked in with stars in my eyes and my business plan in hand. And he didn't exactly say no, but this was 2009, the midst of an economic recession, and banks were not lending. And he didn't exactly say yes either. He asked me to consider alternate forms of funding for my big dream. So instead, I opened a checking account with $67 and rented space in the back of a commercial kitchen, and posted up a one-page information-only website, no clickable links, just here we go. And that's how All My Cupcakes was born.
That's amazing. I love this story. That is so great because you really sometimes you when you're on your path, you don't honor the twists and the turns unless you allow yourself, like the advice or however you got the inspiration from Jon Gordon, of allow yourself to trust and move forward, which is what you did. So can we go back to the bank situation? So some of our followers are entrepreneurs. Some are people that want to start their dream, and some of them have started their dream and they're ready to go for the next round, like take it big or something like that. So funding's always an issue because that can cause that twist in the turn and like, do I take that fork or do I not? How did you go about getting creative of how you could figure out how to bring some profits? You know, when the bank says no, they say, can you get creative? How did you go about exploring options without losing confidence?
Absolutely. I remember I'd even looked at property. I had looked at a space. I had this dream of what it would look like. I mean, pink and lovely and chandeliers. And when people would come in, they would just feel a certain way, right? And so when the bank turned me down, I remember someone saying, are you sad? Do you feel like, I mean, are you sad because your dream is over? And I remember just feeling so deeply that God wasn't saying no, but he was maybe just saying not yet. And instead, again, I opened the bank account with $67 and stuck all my cupcakes at the top of checks. And so, hey, that's a business, right? But I started little by little by little. And I have often said, truly, that no from the bank, or that not exactly no, but not exactly yes, was one of the best gifts that my business ever received. Because if I would have had $40,000 at that time, which was the number I was looking for, but I'm just not sure that I would have known exactly what the business needed to move it forward. But instead, growing incrementally, like and when I say incrementally, I mean, it was me baking, my daughters who were like 10 and 13 at the time, a friend of mine who she just really enjoyed baking, but she was a new mom. And so I would literally pay her daycare bill every week. She would come bake and tell me how much she paid in daycare, and I would write a check straight to the daycare. I'm not sure that's exactly legal, but it's details. But we started so small. And just every time I would, get an order, I would put that money right back in and right back in, and I'd buy new ingredients and do new things. And it was so incremental, but over time, we are now a team of 40. We have 2 locations here in Sioux Falls. We're 14 years in, and our top line revenue is about 1.5 million each year. And so we have just been incredibly blessed by this community here.
Wow, what a powerful story, Melissa. I am so impressed just about the persistence that you have to stay the path, stay the course, no matter what the turns are, as Marcy said. So you started off really small. And how did you get the word out? How did you start getting orders? How did that start to grow?
Yeah, well, we did, I don't know, do you call it guerrilla marketing? I'm not, no, we did a little out of the box marketing, in that we've, from day one, we've done something we call random acts of cupcakes. And they are, one of our core values is generosity into the community. And so with random acts of cupcakes, it's part strategic and part pure generosity, where we just go give cupcakes to people and say, these are for you. Hey, have a wonderful day. And, our contact information is on the box, but we don't even call that to anybody's attention. We're just like, here's some cupcakes, have a great day. Sometimes people look at you like you're really weird. Like, all right, what's the catch? What's going on? But I could tell you story after story of gifting cupcakes to, the underhoused in our community, and, people with tears in their eyes, just saying, why would you do that? And the gratitude that you see on people's faces, like, it's indescribable. Sometimes we also do it to businesses that may turn into future clients. But again, it's kind of a 50-50 thing for us. We want it to be, got to be somewhat strategic here and there, but I also want to make sure that we're continuing to give to those who could never would have that opportunity or that option to walk through the doors of our store and enjoy this beautiful sweet treat. I think they should be for everybody. And so that's one thing that we've done that has really boosted it. It creates stories, and I think business travels in story. Another thing we've often done, I just did it last night at one of our staff meetings, that people pull into the parking lot after we're closed, and I can see them peeking in the door like, oh, darn, they're closed. And my philosophy has always been that I never want to see disappointment on someone's face when it comes to cupcakes, right? And so we'll run cupcakes out the door and just give them to them and say, hey, you know what, we're closed, but why don't you take these? And I hope you have a great night. Thank you so much for stopping in, and please stop by and see us again when we're open next time. And it's all of those things that have really, again, business traveling in story. It has boosted boosted what people know about us in the community. And we've grown in some maybe unexpected ways throughout the years.
Well, I could imagine as you were talking, I was curious about the 40 people you hired, and then you continue to tell your story. And I find that when you have that like vision and that consistency of radical generosity and wanting to have people, feel the brand and connect with you, it's probably not just a great business, to get referrals and things like that, but great employees that want to have that type of special experience where they're connected to a higher purpose than just selling goods. And that's I love that story, Melissa. So good.
Thank you. At one of our staff meetings the other day, someone said, like in terms of who we're looking for on our team or who we want on our team, somebody said, we want people, and I didn't say this, I loved that somebody else said this, but we want people who are not only proud of their work, but they're proud of where they work.
That's so good.
And that's really cool. Those are the things that a conversation like this is so good for me, because it reminds me of the purpose. It reminds me of the promise we've made to the community. It reminds me of our bigger why. And sometimes you can get stuck in the details, right? In the day-to-day and the logistics and the emails that don't send and the oven timers that don't work. And all of a sudden you go, oh yeah, this is
right. Because the why gets you through the downs. And the
Yes.
downs without the why, you're just become lost and frustrated, and you kind of wallow in the mud instead of getting up and keep moving on. So that's so great. Which reminds me of, you have just written a book, and probably there's some golden insights that a lot of us would like to read and learn more. But can you tell us more about, I'm going to say with your second book, so we'll go back to the first book later, but tell us about the book you're launching.
So my second book just came out a couple of months ago. It's called Lifelong Learner: Reflections, Notes, Discoveries. And I've taken the wisdom that I've learned from maybe a speaker that I have had an opportunity to see, or a seminar I've attended. I'm certain that I will write things down from this conversation as well. Might even be wisdom from a friend in a coffee shop who shared something with me that was such a light bulb moment that I wrote it down. I went into my own journals and my own notebooks and went through all of my notes and wrote a book called Lifelong Learner. I believe we have so much we can learn from others. And so the book has notes on success, notes on parenting, notes on fear, notes on running away, notes on trusting your inner voice. And then at the end of each chapter is just a little reflection, like something that you can take with you for whether it's the day, the week, but just something to reflect on as well.
That's so great. So can I ask a question about, like, so when you're launching a book and you're getting this out there into this hands, what's kind of your style, your approach to get more readers to, know what's in it and inspired to buy it?
Absolutely. I wish I said that I had a really great strategy for that. I will say that I don't know that I'm the expert on that, but I really just do my best to get it out. Sometimes it's just giving it to people. I always have one in my car. I always have one in my purse, and kind of like random acts of cupcakes, right? It's that similar thing. If I come across somebody that I'm like, I wish I could share with you what's in this book. Oh, I have one right here. Let me just gift it to you. But I wish I had a better answer to that. Like, here's the great strategy. This is the one, but I'm not sure I'm an expert on that.
Well, Melissa, you talked a lot about journaling. How has journaling really helped you stay focused and in control of your dream, where you're headed, and how to handle the little bumps and bruises and turns and twists that come along?
Absolutely. There's a great quote. I think it is Anne Lamott, but I am not exactly 100% sure who said it. But the quote is, "I write when I don't know what I think." And I am such a journaler, whether it be prayer journaling or Julia Cameron. If you follow Julia Cameron at all, she has a platform she calls Morning Pages. 3 pages every single morning, first thing in the morning, stream of consciousness. Just clear out the cobwebs, get the junk out of your head. It might even be like, I need cat litter, or it might be, I have no idea what I'm going to make for supper tonight. But suddenly you might come across the realization that you've written in your journal, I really am unhappy with my job. Maybe you've written that 4 times over 6 months. Then it's something to pay attention to, right? When you do morning pages or when you journal, you really discover the things that are rattling around in your head that you might not even have been able to form into real thoughts before you wrote them down on the page.
Yeah, I feel like that's such simple advice, but so true, because when you do give yourself the space, which nowadays, thanks to like technology and speed, you really have to try to find a moment of calm or of like quiet or anything like that. Because the second you're pouring your coffee, you see on your phone, like, oh, I'm just going to check this one alert. And next, you're knee deep in your to-dos, and now you're running to do all these things. So that type of approach to kind of get all the clutter that's out there, down and kind of bring some clarity. I love that.
Simon Sinek says, what distracts you will eventually define you. And my phone is such a huge distraction. I'm just being really vulnerable and honest and saying that is one thing I'm really, really grappling with right now. I mean, I'm really grappling with, how do I disconnect more? But by saying, sometimes I'll say, I don't want to be on my phone so much, but then I'm bringing attention to my phone, right? Instead, I'm saying, what are the things I want more of? I want to be painting more. I love to paint. I want to be journaling more. I want to go for more walks, and figuring out what I need to replace that distraction and addiction with has really been helpful for me.
I struggle the same way with my phone. My husband scolds me constantly about it. I find that if I actually move it to another room, eventually I can forget that it's there. It's
Yes.
that draw. And, not only that, I actually keep my phone on silent. So if I'm not looking at my phone, I'm looking for my phone because I can't find it.
Yes, exactly. For me, it is as simple as like leaving at home when I go for a walk.
Yeah.
I can track my steps on my watch or whatever, but just leaving at home completely allows my brain to, I don't know, free up a little bit more.
Now, I really enjoy the idea that, the journaling has been able to help you, as you said, clear the clutter, but not only that, guide you in the decisions that you've been able to make, which is so important. How many, let's talk about the challenges that you have to overcome. So you said 40 employees, is that right?
Yes.
Wow. And you call them Cupcake Ninjas? Is that
Cupcake Ninjas? Yes, because we have to move super fast to get all the orders done. Mother's Day weekend, we totaled it up and we decided that on that Saturday we had done about 4,000 cupcakes that day. It is a lot, and everything that we do is baked fresh, baked from scratch, and baked with love. And so to get all of that done, it does mean that we have to move really fast. So we call them Cupcake Ninjas. We've got about 14 that are full-time-ish, 30 hours, 35, 40 right in there. And then a lot of young people who are enjoying their first employment experience. So we call those, their job title when you first started Oh My Cupcakes is Ambassador of Frosting and Joy. And so isn't that great?
So
like
good.
Who doesn't want to
So
be an
good.
ambassador of frosting and joy? So
That's awesome.
we do love giving young people their first job, and I love teaching them guest service skills that'll take them through their lifetime, and finding the ones that are engaged and curious and want to learn more and be a part of that mission that we just talked about.
Well, nowadays, this next generation that's going into the workforce, they really are some of the most like consistent in terms of who they are, who their values are, what they look for in a company. That kind of gone are the days of them joining a company that they say one thing and then they're employed and it's like totally different. Like that was a slogan. So I love that you're giving, people with their first job experience of a company that's consistent through and through, and like using your values to help make you make business decisions, which is, again, I love that radical generosity.
Thank you. And it's, certainly not perfect. It comes with so many pitfalls, as we all know. Anytime you work with people are messy. I'm messy. You're probably messy too, right? And everybody has their own stuff. And so we have our pitfalls, but we just do our best to, return to our values and our mission in order to get through them.
So if you're defining like what's next for you, what kind of evolves? Like where does the candle business come in? Where does the book business, but what's kind of on the horizon of the next, say, 5 years or?
Absolutely. I finally, my business card, I used to have an Oh My Cupcakes business card and a Sweet Cream Candle Company business card. And we also, for a few years, had a stationery boutique called Oh My Word. And so I've had all these different businesses and finally had them incorporated onto one business card for myself. And it says, I create beautiful things that bring people joy. And that's my highest goal, whether it be written words, whether it be a delicious cupcake or a candle that smells lovely and, scents your environment. I just want to create beautiful things that bring people joy. And so one area that I've been delving into over the last year or a couple of years is working on writing workshops and writing retreats for women. And that I have found such deep passion and meaning in helping guide women on their journey. Like it's back to women's ministry, you guys. Look at that. Look how full circle, and being able to guide women on their journey and help them look a little bit deeper, reflect on where they've been, where they are right now, and then also what is next. So I'm more of a grace and reflection and growth person rather than a grit and hustle kind of person. I believe that there's so much grit and hustle and fast and fast, cheap, and easy in our world, right? That I'm looking for experiences that bring meaning to people's lives.
No, I love the way you describe everything that you do. How can people find out more about cupcakes, candles, books, retreats?
And all things beautiful and joyful.
All things beautiful and joyful. Yes. I mean, and I have several different websites, but ohmycupcakes.com is our first one. melissajcreative.com is where you'll find out about writing retreats. I'm leading my first one in Sedona, Arizona this fall, and I could not be more excited. Let's see, sweetcreamcandleco.com has all of our candles. So social media and all of the web world, I know I need to work on that footprint a little bit and bring all those things together better, but that's where you'll find me, is all of these different places. So
wonderful. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for this conversation. I feel like that time just went like right by.
Oh,
and
my goodness, it did.
Yeah, we're grateful for this, and thank you. I feel like you lifted my spirits today. It's so nice when you interview somebody that's gone from that. I forget, was it $67 for the small deposit to now employing 40 people and making lives better because of the work that you do. So this was an amazing conversation.
Thank you so much. This is my kind of life mantra. It sits on my desk. It sits everywhere. You probably can't even see it, but my life mantra is better tomorrow, enough for today. That is what I hope to leave you with as well. I think we always want to be committed to our own growth, whether it be personal growth or professional growth, but also understanding that we are worthy exactly as we are. We are also enough for today.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Revel Coach is a collaborative platform that builds leadership programs for entrepreneurs, coaches, executives, and authors. For more information, visit us at revelcoach.com and follow us on LinkedIn to never miss an update.